Hi folks, and welcome to this video which is about 3 new virtual pets that are coming out in July 2024, so just a couple of weeks time. I've pre-ordered 2 of them already and the other one is going to be released on the 1st of July. Can't pre-order it, but I'll get it as soon as it becomes available. So the first is the Punirunes. That's the one that I haven't pre-ordered. I've mentioned that previously in a video. The second is Disney Bitzee. I've also mentioned that in a previous video. That's going to be released on the 1st of July. And the final one is the Sumikko Plus Friend. And that's going to be released in Japan on the 6th of July. I find all 3 of these really interesting in the take that they have on virtual pets. So it's not just a straightforward screen and you press buttons that's your only way of interacting.
Yeah, so it's not like a straightforward Tamagotchi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like about them is that in none of them does your pet die. No pets die.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to talk about is Punirunes, and the take on this one is that you are going to actually be able to touch something,
Right, so
which is supposed to be like a representation of the little jelly creature that lives inside it.
It's almost like it's not 100% virtual. It's almost coming into our world because you can now touch it. So it's somewhere between virtual, not real, and real.
So this has a hole in the side where you put your finger, and you have a representation of your finger on the screen.
Right.
And you can actually feel something inside and interact with it.
I find this a really strange take on the idea of a virtual, because now your finger, which is real, is entering the virtual world.
Yeah, it's a great idea, isn't it? So I did a video about this a while ago, but since then I've had a really long comment from someone who has had the Japanese version of this, because we were wondering how it felt, inside.
We were, yeah.
And I was saying, I wonder if it's like a squishy push button. And you were saying, I think it'd be more like a joystick. And the person who's got one says that the little button can rock in any direction, kind of like a D-pad on a game controller. So it's more like you thought.
I know those buttons, yeah. There's sort of like a button cross with a joystick, yeah.
So I suppose we were both right. It's like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
The cover on top can, in quotes, deflate if you push it too hard. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to replace it. So it sounds like it's filled with air.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's where you get the squishy feel from.
It would be good if they'd made it sticky as well.
I'm not so sure I like that idea. I don't think that would be popular. And as I said before, none of these pets die like Tamagotchis do.
Yeah, that was always a downer.
And the person that put the comment on about them explained to me what happens to this if you don't look after it properly. It melts, but it can be kneaded back together.
I like that idea. I like that, yeah.
And there's no real punishment for it having got into that state.
So it melting is like it's becoming sick, but then with a bit of extra love and tenderness, care, you can get it back to health, yeah.
My mother would be good at that because she's good at bread making, isn't she? So yes, it takes all that stress away. So that's the Punirunes. I'm not going to say any more about it because, as I say, I have done a previous video which covered Punirunes, if you would like to look at that for some more information on them. Now moving on to the second in the list, the Disney Bitzee. So this is a new Bitzee that has been released in the UK on the 1st of July. So I got the original Bitzee last year, and what attracted me to this was that you could actually physically touch your virtual pet, because it's like a persistence of vision little film, isn't it?
Yeah.
That creates it.
That's right. It flaps at, I don't know, quite a few tens of times a second and creates this POV effect. So the little figures seem to be hanging in the air made out of light, but you can touch it.
Yeah. And it's like it lives in the box, isn't it?
Yeah, the boxes. I like the box. The idea of this little pet in a box, this nice little cube you can carry around with you. I like the shape of it.
When you shut the box, it sort of says goodbye as well.
Yeah, the lid's like the on-off switch, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really clever. So you actually touch the film to pet it, rather than sort of pressing buttons. It's like you're touching it more directly. So that's what I liked about the idea of the Bitzee. And these don't die either. So when we got the original Bitzee last year, they would run away if you didn't look after them.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And you had to sort of coax them back with their favourite treats.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm not quite sure how you're going to look after them, because the Disney characters.
That's right, it's a range of Disney characters.
Rather than pets. So I'm not quite sure how you're going to look after them yet. Perhaps they disappear if you don't look after them, and then you'll have to wish upon a star to get them back. Because to get a new character, you have to wish upon a star.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Nice to see Stitch there in amongst the characters.
When you said you get a new character, they only release one character at a time in the game?
Yeah, like they did in the Pets.
Oh, yeah.
In the original Bitzee. And you were curious in whether the resolution might be any better in this one. Because
it was a bit. It's part of its charm that it's pixelated.
Yeah.
But it was a bit too pixelated, I think, on the previous one that came out, and it was difficult to recognise some of the characters.
Yeah, so, like what sort of animal were they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, now with the Disney one, it's even more important, because you've got to identify and say, oh, that's Stitch, or that's.
Well,
Donald.
You can see that's Stitch,
that's
can't
Donald
you?
Duck, or yeah, that looks clearly like Stitch. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if we pick up on any difference in the resolution. And that's all we're going to say about the Disney Bitzee, because I have done a video about it before, and I covered all the characters that were going to be included in it in that video, if you would like to know more about it. And finally, we turn to Sumikko Friend. So out of the 3 virtual pets that I'm talking about on this video, this one is in Japanese. It's a Japanese product and hasn't been released outside Japan. The one that was brought out last year had 2 characters, but the one that's just coming out this July has got an extra character, and that's the one that I pre-ordered from Amazon Japan. So before I go on to talk in detail about this product and why I decided to pre-order it, I'll tell you a little bit about the background to the characters, because it's quite rich, really. So they were invented by a stationery company called San-X, and I found this depiction of them and the following description of them on San-X's website. Sumikko Gurashi are the characters living a quiet and solitary life in the corner. They might be able to settle down when they're in the corners, but they don't like being in the centre of the room. When they're taken to the centre of the room, they always rush back to the corner. And I found out that these little characters have actually been made into short animations, haven't they, Paul? And we watched some of them, and they're just so cute, aren't they? They're lovely little backstories to each character.
You feel sorry for them. They're like pitiful things.
They are
aren't
pitiful, yes. So they all lack in confidence for some reason. And that's why they like to retire to the corner with others of their kind.
I think you said as well that there's a little bit of that perhaps in all of us to a greater or lesser degree.
Yeah.
So you can sort of identify with them, can't you?
So in the game, they took two of these characters, Shirokuma and Tokage, and they took these two characters and put them in the game, and they brought that out last year. But the new one also includes the cat character. I think you pronounce it Neko.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a description of Shirokuma here, and this is off Sanex's site as well. Shirokuma is a shy bear who migrated south to avoid the cold. Shirokuma feels most calm while drinking hot tea in a corner.
Oh, I feel calm when I drink hot tea.
We watched the short animation of this.
It's funny.
But again, pitiful. It was like trying to wrap itself up in warm things, and its nose was running.
It's also comic, the idea. I mean, it looks like a polar bear, and it comes from the North Pole, or where it's cold, and
it doesn't like it cold.
Like it, and it wants to get away from it.
And then the next character,
this is my favourite, I think.
Tokage, is actually the last of the dinosaurs. It pretends to be a lizard to avoid being caught, and then it says slowly warming up to Nisetsumuri. I don't know that character, the last one, but this was pitiful as well.
I like the idea of a dinosaur pretending to be a lizard.
Yes, but I don't think you saw this animation. I think I watched this one by myself, and it was going a bit too Walt Disney Bambi-like, because it missed its mother.
Oh.
And it still misses its mother.
Right.
And its mother is the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, so its mum's still alive then?
Yes, but it misses it. It's separated from it. It has a little fluffy toy that looks like its mother. And it really is pitiful.
Mm.
So those two characters were included in the Sumikko Friend virtual pet device last year. But now they've added a third character, Neko. And I was really chuffed about this, because this one is actually my favourite character.
That's the fat cat, isn't it?
It's the fat cat, yes. Shy and timid, Neko usually hides in the corner. Neko worries about his body shape. And did we both see this animation? Did you see the animation on this one?
Yes, I did see Neko, yeah.
Yeah, this was very sad. Pulled at my heartstrings, because he really likes his food. And because he ate so much as a little kitten, he got fat. And because of that, he wasn't adopted. He was left behind, and he became a stray cat. Oh, my goodness. But I really like the idea of him really enjoying his food and being a bit plump. I can relate to that. And when he came across the corner and he found all the others, he found that they were all the same shape as him. So he fitted in.
So these are three characters, three virtual pets that you really want to take care of and look after.
Yes. So moving on to a description of the actual device now. So what you might be wondering is, if this is a Japanese product and it's not being distributed outside of Japan, how am I going to understand how to use it? Well, there's a lady who's got a YouTube channel, and she translates lots and lots of different manuals from Japanese into English, and she's done an absolutely fantastic job. And she's put them all on her website, and I'll put a link to her website in the description. So this is her website, fuzzyandchic.com, and you can see there it says virtual pet guides, charts, translations and more. It's really, really good. And this is from the translation that she did. So you can see there that this device has removable covers.
Right.
So the one that came out last year, it had 2 removable covers, and the new one that's been released on the 6th of July that I've pre-ordered has got 3 covers.
Right, that'll be one for each character then.
Yes. So it's got these little holes on the front in between the 2 main buttons, and then you've got these little ridges on the back of the covers that fit in the holes, so it like keys in a different sort of set.
So that's how the game knows what cover you've got on and what character to display in the game.
Yes.
Oh, cute.
And when you put the cover on, the 2 buttons that you use for the game become the creature's hands.
Yeah, I can see that from the picture, yeah.
And it's also got a touch sensor on the top of the device, so you can stroke it.
Oh, right.
And it's got some sort of like accelerometer in it, so it responds to being moved around as well.
So are both those part of the gameplay, the accelerometer and the touch sensor?
Yeah, I'm not. I think you can use them in the games as well. The touch sensor becomes like a back button, a cancel button. But when it's got the cover on, they're all sort of like ways of interacting with the creature.
Oh, you mean it's not just a game then?
No, once you put the cover on, the screen turns into a face and it becomes your little pet.
Right.
So it says here game mode and friend mode.
Right.
So you put it into friend mode when you put the cover on, and depending which cover you put on, you'll get one of 3 different characters.
That's a really nice idea.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it reminds me a little bit of the Toby smartwatch, because in the Toby smartwatch you've got all these different functionalities with it. But you can just put it into Toby mode, where it's a little robot you can interact with.
Yeah.
And in the case of the Toby watch, it even had like 2 moving little parts, didn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So you can see there, you can interact with it in different ways when it's in friend mode, like stroking it, rocking it, tilting it, and you bond with it through touching it. So I think this is really bringing it out of the virtual pet mode. It's like you've got your normal virtual pet in its little world, but then you put the cover on and it's like you've got something sort of
real,
concrete.
almost. Yeah, concrete, yeah.
And what I was wondering was if you could maybe cover it with maybe some very short plush fur. So it feels nicer to stroke rather than just plastic.
It would be nice if the manufacturers did that, yeah.
They shouldn't they?
Like a sort of like a velveteen or a flock type of material.
Yeah, that would be really nice, wouldn't it? They could maybe like make it look a bit more like the characters then as well.
Yeah.
You know, like they could get the colouring in the flock.
That's right,
Like the cat has patches on it.
And touch sensors do work through thin material as well.
Well, the thing is, the touch sensor's on the actual device, not the cover, and yet it can work right the way through the plastic cover.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, you'd be able to put fur on top of it, wouldn't you? Like thin fur. And I think it's really interesting that this company has done this with this device, because it's making it appeal to people who are not normally attracted to having a virtual pet.
Yeah, it's like widening the appeal out of the narrow Tamagotchi type virtual pet area, isn't it?
Yes, and these don't die either. If you don't look after them, they'll leave the room and then you've got to go looking for them.
Right.
So that's it. That's all 3 virtual pets, all brand new this July. And I will be getting all 3 of them and unboxing them and doing a review and sharing it with you folks.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing this Disney Bitzee, I think, the most.
Really? I think the one that I'm keenest on?
It'll be the Punirune, won't it, with a little soft ball inside.
Oh, well, I'm fantastically curious about that one.
Well, I am as well, I've got to admit, yeah.
But the one I'm most looking forward to is the Sumikko, because I feel that that one is going to be closer to having a little interactive pet than the others. So folks, that about wraps it up for this video. I hope you found that interesting and informative to some degree. Thanks for watching as always, and hope to see you next time.